So what really makes our investment process different is that we actually focus on risk. So many times we watch the news, things are happening, get you anxious about what you have going on. Maybe you're reflecting back about the 2008 credit crisis. Those are the type of things that have an impact on what you're doing financially. And so ultimately we're using your investments to create an eventual stream of income or have some other goal assigned to it. So that's why we use a tool called Riskalyze. And what we're doing is we're using a risk number, which is the equivalent, if you want to look at it, like being a speed number. And so a 74 is the speed of the S&P 500. A 1 is having money under your blanket or under your bed. And 99 is this high flying company. And so we want to try to find out what's the right number for you so that we can actually help you invest, what we say, fearlessly. And so this is the process. So we use a questionnaire that really tries to identify where you should be from a speed limit, and then we try to figure out what it is that makes sense for you. So we don't use the old adage of aggressive, moderate, or conservative based on age. So typically we're going to say someone that may be older is going to be more conservative, and that someone is younger is going to be aggressive. Well, that's the old way of looking at it, and so we don't want to stereotype our investors. And so we basically look at the risk number and figure out where you should be and try to assign a portfolio to that. So even if you are younger, maybe you are risk averse. And so we want to identify that and make you feel comfortable in what you're doing. And so that's kind of what we're doing. Our process is really just combining the depth of investment and knowledge and philosophy, and actually using the technology to actually empower you as the client to invest fearlessly. We don't want you worrying every time you see the news what's happening. And so that's where we're going to use this quantitative risk approach to actually figure out what's the right number for you, and this is kind of what the question will look like. And then we try to line that, as we said. So we look at your current portfolio and identify what your comfort level is, and then kind of come up with a portfolio that makes sense for you. And then we can do everything from stress testing it to identifying different variables that are involved in the portfolio. And here's an example of John No Plan. We can look at his portfolio, figure out what he has in there, and then so he's got a risk of his current portfolio is a risk of 40, and he has a risk comfort level of 58. So his portfolio is not as risky as he can maintain. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to see how it's constructed, and then we can figure out how effective it is, and we can figure out everything from the expenses to the to what it pays out, and we can figure out things like the returns. And we can do things like stress testing the positions, so that if you want to say what this portfolio would look like if we went back to the financial crisis, we can identify that and quantify that for you in real dollar terms. And so that's what we're looking at here. This is basically showing a portfolio of a 40 with about $361,000 may lose about $25,000 or gain about $50,000 during a 6-month period of time. I'm using probability analysis, so it's a 95% probability of that scenario happening. And so we're using that approach to actually help you feel comfortable. And so that's how we do it. If you have questions about it, feel free to give us a call, and we look forward to talking to you soon.